everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are going to be trying to work as much hours as we can this weekend on the scrapper and Dad's truck. I have everything for his truck ready to go back on there. I just need to set the time aside and knock it out. But this truck, we are aiming to bring this bad boy back to life. Since you guys last saw it, it had a fender on it. I removed that junker, and I also checked for the killer dowel pin, see if it failed, and it had not. Thankfully, it is still in there. But while I have everything apart, I figured I would go ahead and do some more maintenance stuff on it before I button this truck back up, repaint it, and realize I have some oil leaks on some fairly common stuff. So the tappet cover, gasket or seal, that piece of junk that always gets hard and cracks and falls apart, that thing is leaking. So that requires pulling the injection pump off, all this stuff on the side. And I figured what better time to do it now than, I don't have the fender right here. I'm gonna kick the intercooler stuff off the charge pipes, get it out of the way, and it should be way easier than it would be down the line that if I would have the fender on there. But by the end of the day, I would like to have the fender back on it, that thing on, and everything kind of buttoned up more or less, and possibly have the bed on there and the new hood. So we'll see if we actually make that far, but I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. We got a lot of work to do. As far as the front end, I did mention to you guys that the other ball joints were shot. This side is tight as ever, but there's some stuff that was broken on the other side as far as these. So I think I did order all the parts to replace everything, all this, or, you know, the bushings and stuff in those. But I do have that truck out there. I'm gonna go out there and check to see if it's got the same ratio. If it does, I'm just gonna swap the whole front end. It'll be nice to have extra parts lying around, but who knows what this front end's been through. I'm sure the seals and everything in it are completely shot, and it's just gonna be a time bomb, and we're just gonna swap her out if it's the right gear ratio. So I'm gonna go check that right now before I forget. We are in the clear. 354 on this and 354 on the rig inside. I'll go through it and double inspect everything on this rig, but this front end is in significantly better shape than that one over there. And this truck, when it was wrecked, it only had 128,000 miles on it. I'm just gonna harvest this front end and swap those suckers out. Oh, look at that. That is so much easier to access the P-pump through this route. You just gotta take the fender off, make life easier. Got everything capped off, so hopefully we're not getting any garbage in this while we're taking it apart. I got all the injection lines off, all the fuel lines off, stripping a little bit of diesel right there. But you have to time the P-pump to the engine for it to work right. It can't just be firing at will. It's not computer controlled. It doesn't have a high pressure common rail CP3 pump like the new stuff does. You actually have to time these. So before I take it off there and break the timing, I'm gonna go ahead and try to time it beforehand. And what you do is you crank the engine over. Back in there, you guys see that little nubbin? You crank the engine over while you're applying pressure to that thing. And when your engine gets to top dead center, it'll pop in to your cam gear on the outside here. Then you take off the little nut, or this little guy right here, access. Then you got to find top dead center on your pump, and to verify that, obviously if this thing's already timed, you take this guy off here and you'll see a little doodad sticking out. But before I go too far along, I need to find my socket that fits this, and I think that's really handicapping me right now because I can't find it. I believe it's 1 3/16 inches. I had a nice Mac one so I wouldn't break it trying to do this kind of stuff, but I can't find that, so that's holding me back right now. Got a little bit of a diesel leak right there. Other than that, everything seems to be going apart pretty comfortably. All right, I can't find the socket and I can't find the keys to my enclosed trailer, which I think the socket is in, so I want to keep the ball rolling and try to get as much stuff done today all over the places I can before I head up to Dad's and try grabbing another one from his collection. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the bed off of here, but these guys went ahead and made it extra difficult. Instead of just having those one-time use things, they put some bolts in there. So I have to get those out. But those are the airbags and possibly front end off of this truck. And we got to get all this junk out of the bed and throw it in our scrap bed over here. Kind of a bummer, this grill's kind of crapped out too. But I think we need the hardware underneath of it for the new hood. So, whew, let's keep the ball rolling. Always something. I want to keep it rolling today. That's it. Why is it that every time I go to remove a bed off of any one of these trucks, there is way more than just the stock factory 8 bolts that hold it down? This guy went above and beyond. They even put their airlines for the bags. They tapped them in with these little fancy holders. They went above and beyond. There's all kinds of stuff, but I went through and made sure we didn't have any extra issues like that last slimy bed over there. And then I hit it with a little spit shine pressure washer action. That way when I go to work on it, it's this side is freaking awesome, good shape. Little powder, or I mean clear coat's coming off right there. It's not the end of the world. It is way better than that last bed was. But I'm gonna get it set down. I got one of these rolly pallets. Gonna grab the Kubota, set it down on that. Well, got the Kubota in position. Now I just gotta find some tie downs. I swear those things disappear more often than my water-filled gas jugs around here. All right, got 2 trustworthy-ish straps. What is that? Oh, the spare tire thingy. Get the gas cap free. Flipped her off. You guys didn't know this was the second Dodge diesel I ever bought. Sure, it's a parts truck, but this is the longest owned one I've ever had. Poor thing, still finding use for it. Done it. Well, if your projects are anything like mine, they never go together on the first go around. So you got to trial and error and test fit stuff and see if you can get something to work. So I want to put these airbags, we've got some dirt on the screen, put these airbags that came off that green truck out there on the green truck in here. Mainly because I don't want the truck to sit kind of goofy when I put 35s on the front and lifters. Leveling kit on the front. I wanted to sit level. So this one came with these oddball overload springs. They're not really even overload springs, they're just a little assisters. And I didn't know if these were gonna fit, so I went and harnessed these bad boys off of that truck out there. And hell, this frame's not even drilled for them. Come back out here again to reassess the situation, and to be honest with you, it looked like they drilled these holes out. I've never added airbags to a second gen, but I came over to Grandma's truck, which is kindly sitting here patiently, looking great, looking way better than what I'm working on. But it doesn't have any holes drilled in it, so I will have to drill the holes in that green truck inside the shop. But another thing I got to steal off this one is the spare tire bracketry. I'm going to steal this bag off there. I think these will work beautifully, actually. And seeing how this one sits, I'm going to take a photo of it now so that I can remember when the bed is not in my way. Come on. There we go. Looks like just about even with that. That'll do the job. This truck was actually a factory 5-speed with a 12 valve in it, and I harvested the engine and trans out of it. Did not know that the engine was like tuned. It was only after I fired it up and it really produced power that I realized it had, you know, had been assisted back in the day. And it had a single disc clutch in it that I replaced with a mildly above stock clutch when I swapped the engine and trans out of this into another truck. And it didn't last but, I don't know, 5,000-6,000 miles, and it spun that clutch. It had too much power for it. But the clutch that I pulled out of this thing was actually still like dang near brand new. I you know, checked it with the calipers, very little wear on it. So I'm gonna go full scrapyard build on this thing. I have so many extra parts lying around that will never get used for anything but stuff like this. These junkyard builds, these are fun projects for me because I just got all this stuff that I'm never going to use for anything because it's not really the greatest. If you guys watch any of my other videos, I do have nicer trucks. I have a new truck. I have several 3rd gens, but these 2nd gens, I really like working on these. And if I can harvest parts off of one that's never going to see the light of day anymore and put it on something that will make something useful, let's go ahead and knock it out. So that front end's going to go. I'm not going to steal the back end yet, unless the rear end goes out in this truck, but we're going to take a lot of parts off it. I'm going to even steal the Ram 2500 badge off there. Cummins turbo diesel. Comment below if you guys have ever had to take one of these spare tire brackets off the truck with the bed still on it. Pretty much sucks. This is the best way to do it by far, because there's no room. Put the bed in the way. I don't know how much that part costs, but it's worth it for me to steal it off this truck, because it ain't going nowhere. Oh, I stole a pin out of it earlier. Whoopsies. This is how you expertly catalog the bolts. LOL, LOL, JK. Sometimes I do this. Most of the time I don't. Alrighty, I got my sidekick down here in probably the nicest basketball in the world that Boone clearly wants to attack. But somebody gave me the idea to stick a ball underneath there, pump it full of air, and it'll pop that dent back out. I think that'll work for up there, but down here, we gotta work some real magic. What are you doing, Boone? Yeah, you're my way. So I'm gonna take a 2x4 and tap it with a mini BFH. Boone, stop attacking the ball. That's a tool. What are you doing? And I'm gonna try to tap this out. Gotta see where we land later on. If I ding it up now, that way I know we got some more work ahead of us, but I think that'll straighten out fairly easily. It actually did break through right there just a little bit. Stab that thing up in there and we'll pop that dent out. Get back. Look at that. It's working. I don't remember who said to do that, but thank you. I think there was actually 2 of you that said that. Somebody said a basketball and somebody said a football. Dang, I like it. Worked a lot better than that glue gun. Still a little buckle there. Still a little guy right there, but honestly maybe that little glue gun technique will take that dent out, and then this one down there. Least of our concern is those 2 little dents. We got the majority of that bad boy up. I'll just get my hammer and tap that out. Well, how about that? After 10 minutes beating on it, looks good as new. I wish. Doesn't look bad though. Straighten it out, not bad for 15 minutes. Kind of regained its form just a little bit. Actually, it doesn't look too terrible. That worked out real nice. I'm gonna put that basketball in there one more time right there. Looked pretty good though. I don't know what happened down here. I'm gonna have to do a little tinkering, tap that out right there in the fender well, but this thing is not far from being something I'm okay with to throw on that there truck. This will be a mobber truck. I'll still, you know, respect it, but this truck will have fun. For today, I've damn near taken off the injection pump. Got stuck on one bolt or one nut for the injection pump gear. So instead of running to get that and burning daylight, I'm gonna wait till after dark when I can run up, swap out the front main seal in the press at Dad's house and grab the socket. And we've removed the bed off the other truck, somewhat repaired it. Good enough for what it's for this time being. We're gonna really swing gears now, and I'm gonna pull the transmission. I've already pulled the transfer case. You guys saw that is why I bought this truck for cheap. Was because it had a broken transfer case because the fella didn't realize he was only running one bolt on his front drive shaft. And she clunk, busted her. But I got a replacement for one of those already. Let's pull the transmission because I want to check the 5th gear nut on the NV4500. It is a 5-speed. And there's my new clutch I was telling you guys about right there. My new used clutch. It's completely fine, trust me. There's nothing wrong with that clutch. I checked the tolerances, calipers. We are good. I just got to get up underneath there and do some damage. Ta-da! 20 minutes later, NV4500 is out. There's a difference that I've learned about the NV4500s is these earlier ones, they got the most ridiculous way to insert and lock in the shifter. It just sucks. The later on ones, much better, 4-bolt pattern, much like the NV5600 and G56. But I got one of those out there. But I got, that clutch looks astonishingly good. It looks good, all right. It did not feel like, it felt like the throw. How dirty am I right now? I feel like I'm really dirty. That truck, despite cleaning it off with the pressure washer for hours, it's still got some work to go. But that clutch looks really well. Like driving it around, lifting my foot up, it felt like it was on the very top of it. It didn't feel like it was a new one. So based on that, I'm not gonna worry too much about the fact that that could be a fresh clutch. I didn't ask the guy when he had swapped the clutch because it didn't seem like he swapped anything on this truck ever. Throwout bearing sounds a little like it's got a couple miles on it. I don't even know if they greased the shaft in there. I'm gonna pop it open once I clean it off. I'm not gonna open it up when it's that dirty. Maybe I'll throw this one back in there, maybe not, but I'll show you guys right now, while I'm thinking about it, the difference between the early NV4500s and the later NVs. That's a NV5600 right there. That is a big hoss. That thing weighs more than, I can't think of an appropriate joke, but it's heavy. But this is the transmission out of Dad's truck. It's seen better days, NV4500, but you see how the later ones, his was an 01 truck built in 2000. It came with these different shifter towers. That's way easier to remove out of the truck because you don't have to tilt the engine backwards. And this is the one that I thought I might put in it. I bought that one and it came with the transfer case that is in my 98. And then they got that big hoss, and then I got a bunch of cores. But that's the difference. I might throw that one in there. I'm gonna pop the other one open and see what it looks like in there first. But I know that transmission will be good. I was hopping a nice truck, go to town and buy some dust masks, because you guys said I need to wear a dust mask, and I definitely would, but I didn't have any, and I didn't use it for that long, and I kept the fan on me for when I was buffing off the frame and sanding on the truck up there. So it's California though. I mean, realistically, we're probably gonna get cancer from breathing the clean, deaf air. Hope you laughed at that joke, because deaf's a joke. Well guys, I was probably more curious to see what it looked like with all its pieces more or less back on it than you guys were, but there we go. Oh, that was the fender I was gonna put on Grandma's truck. She had one bad fender, but I decided to fix that one and use this fender on this truck because this one didn't have, you know, it wasn't original parts off of Grandma's. And then I bought that hood the other day off Facebook Marketplace for $15. So, yeah, boy. Turns out the bumper was bent a little bit, so it did a little gouging you won't see underneath there. All I got to do is a bunch of stuff. Look at it though. Look at it. We're coming back together. Thought about putting that bed on there, but that takes a little bit more than just putting it on by hand. But woo, she's coming. She's coming back together. Let's look at it with the 35 on that one side. We got one big 35 on a bad ball joint. I like it, guys. This truck's gonna be fun once I spend $1 million on it. I'm just kidding. We are so far invested just the original price. I haven't bought anything for it. Not one thing. What do I bought for it? Think. Thought I bought something for it. Nope. Still $2,500 and, well, okay, and the hood. 15 bucks. We got $15 invested into this thing, and probably, I'm not gonna say more than 20 hours of my time. So that's like 65 grand. Just kidding. But yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna end it here right now. Take this stuff back off there, clean up the shop, and go on about some other stuff. Probably make another video about finishing Dad's truck if I do that tonight. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that subscribe button for me if you haven't already. Comment on this video. Let me know what you guys think about this bad boy, and like this video. Gotta get some momentum. YouTube needs to find us here. Ah, dang. This is a fun project. I'm getting a little tired, but that's good. Sun's finally going down. It's been a day, and we're still going. Later on, guys. Hope you have a good one. See you.